Six pack lap of that. Thanks for joining. Just want to give a quick shout out to one of our sponsors, FusionMuscle.com. Make sure you go to them for all your supplements. They got everything from creatine, and they got some amazing creatine with the purple K, multivitamins, protein, pre-workout, whatever you want they got. Use promo code KOTL25, get 25% off of all of your supplements, and we get a little kickback. You know, we're gonna buy some new equipment, but it doesn't come cheap, does it? And it will drop it off right to your door worldwide. FusionMuscle.com, KOTL25. Today on the show, we have Odell Manuel. He's a seasoned veteran of the game, been in the game at least a decade, 40 years old, and just won Big Dogs 4. Now, last year he came in silver, started off the competition missing a squat. You know, I'm going to let him tell it, but it was dramatic stuff. And with the competition is deep, you can't miss. My man came back, hit, and kept hitting all the way to the title. So he's in Australia. We got a bit of a time zone difference here. It's evening, Friday evening. It's Saturday morning for him. Took a little bit of back and forth to work this out, but we got it. So let's give Odell Manuel a ring. Odell, there he is.
How are you, mate?
Not bad, not bad. How are you?
Yeah, real good. This is actually the first time I did this.
No kidding. First time ever, right?
Oh, well, I did Skype like this, but I've Skyped back home to New Zealand, but obviously the Facebook's got their own FaceTime now, so I just do that.
Yeah. Have you ever done a podcast before?
Never did a podcast. Never ever. Never did
wow.
it. So this is my first time.
The first time ever. Well,
yeah.
Since winning the Big Dogs 4, maybe you'll be asked for more.
Oh, maybe, but hopefully I can, hopefully answer questions as best I can.
Hey, man, it's all good. We'll just, on King of Lifts, we're pretty informal. We just shoot the shit. It's not really a question and answer. We just let it flow however it feels, my friend. However it feels.
All good, Mum.
So how you feeling right now coming off of Big Dogs 4? Did you end up taking any injuries or anything like that?
Oh, mate, I come into the sport injured. You know, I come into the sport about 10 years ago only because I had to retire from professional rugby league, and I come into the sport. But I still went to the gym and all that after I retired 2 years before I actually started powerlifting. But I still went to the gym, and then a couple of powerlifters asked me if I wanted to do a powerlifting comp, and so I said yes. So I trained for it, and a couple of months I trained for it, and we went for my novice comp, and God willing, we ended up winning it, and not only we actually qualified for the World Championship for my first comp, but obviously as a novice, we had to do a proper one, which is the Queensland States, the next one. So it was I was number one in Australia in my second comp. So it was I thought, oh well, there you go, I'll try this powerlifting thing now.
You must have lifted weights though for rugby though. Like rugby, I've seen, like those rugby dudes, you guys are huge. You guys are jacked in rugby. Super athletic.
A lot of the boys, of course we do weights. I started weights, I won't lie, I started weights when I was 10. But a lot of the boys, of course they do weights with footy and all that, but they never go as heavy as what we do in powerlifting. But there's always a lot of potential. There's a lot of big boys, because I'm originally from New Zealand. There's a lot of big boys back in New Zealand, but I was fortunate enough to move to Australia, and they gave me new opportunities over here, and they've embraced me as one of their own. So that's why I compete for Australia. So it's been a huge honor.
I'm 40 years old as well, and I started weightlifting like super young, and I was like 10 years old too. And I don't know about you, how you found weightlifting. My dad didn't lift weights or anything like that. I just like watched like Arnold Schwarzenegger and watched those movies, and it was like, I just went in the basement, there's some weights around. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just like doing whatever. I don't know what the hell I thought I was doing. How did you find like weightlifting? How did you all of a sudden start at 10 years old? Because that's really young.
Well, my dad, and of course, just like we said about Arnold, everybody, I mean, you're in the same era, we're the same age. Everybody wanted to be like Arnold. He was a pioneer of it. But, my father got me into weights. My father was he wasn't a competitive bodybuilder, but I think he was in that buzz. He wanted to be like Arnold also, but he was actually quite strong himself. He actually did a lot of a couple of powerlifting meets, but he was always going back to that because powerlifting. Originally, everybody thinks powerlifters are fat, and he didn't really like that look, especially 40 years ago, maybe. He didn't really like that look, so he always went towards the bodybuilding scene. But he was a strong man himself, and that's why I think a lot of I give the Aussies a lot of credit because they introduced me to the sport. But the old man was the original gangster when it comes to introducing me to the gym and showing me that anything's possible if you put your mind to it.
Yeah. When you were doing the weightlifting at 10 years old, 10, 11, 12, what kind of weightlifting were you doing? Were you doing like squats and stuff or not yet?
I was doing squats, but I didn't actually get proper technique until I actually moved to Australia. Oh, no. Well, even when in my 20s, when I was playing professional, we still played it, but not that. I think as a powerlifter, you can never get any better than a powerlifter when it comes to a proper squat, bench, and deadlift. Obviously, because if you don't, you'll bomb a comp. So, I still had that foundation, but I still squatted, still deadlifted, and benched because that was our movements in rugby league when I was playing. So we did all that, the snatches and all that. So I always was introduced into that before I come into powerlifting. So I've got a bit of a head start there.
Yeah, it's weird how nowadays I feel like the younger crowd, they can almost take for granted the information sharing, like back in the day, in the 90s, early 2000s, in terms of technique and squat technique and what we know about programming. I mean, you don't get coaches. Now you can get a coach from the other side of the world. You could get squat techniques. The information sharing is beautiful. So the advancement of powerlifting has been crazy. The numbers are just skyrocketing. Back in the day, back in the 90s or when you were playing rugby trying to share information, if you weren't in the powerlifting world, you wouldn't really know how to squat. Who's going to teach you?
No.
There's no videos available to see.
That's it.
You don't know any better.
No, nobody knew. You hardly even saw guys doing when they go for the heavy squat. They never used to do it low bar. They always used to do it high bar.
Yes.
It's a lot harder.
Yeah.
They didn't know that. But so it's all the stuff now. The generation that are coming into the sport now. It's real good that the guys. I wouldn't say I'm a pioneer, but the guys have already gone before them. The trial and error has already been done, and now all the younger generation that's come in and reap the benefits. Obviously, still working hard, but the work is already done. So it's going to be interesting to see how powerlifting's going to go even in the next 10 years because it's skyrocketed the last 10 years anyway.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I mean, it's if someone was to look back at numbers being pushed back in the day, and they're they might have anticipated faster growth, or they might be like, why are we growing so much faster now? It is literally because the information sharing, and like you said, a lot of people before had to figure it out on their own, and it was, without the information sharing like they have now, it's such a slow growth. But nowadays, and not only that, because it's more popular now, the pool of talents now is blossoming. There's so many more people doing powerlifting that to rise to the top. So that's why it's interesting, and people don't realize, yourself at 40 years old, to have started and seen
41.
Oh wow! You could have
41 time. I know it's not much difference, but there's a little bit of a difference. But 41, I'm actually 42 soon. Wow. 42 in January. So
I mean, it means it's tough to hang in there in the sport where so much has changed, and you've probably seen such a change in the sport over just your span. And to keep up with all the new people coming in. I mean, you've been around 10 years ago when you started. Some of these guys were teenagers.
Yeah, I've noticed in Australia and obviously the world, but I've noticed here we have been doing powerlifting. The last 5 years have just skyrocketed. I think giving a lot to the promoters here, Marcos and Ime down in Melbourne here. They're the ones that promote. They're the founders of Pro Rule Powerlifting down here, and obviously the big dogs. And I think it was awesome for them down here. That's why a lot of people are coming over to powerlifting because it's looking like it's fun.
Yeah.
A lot of the ladies are coming over. A lot of the bodybuilding ladies coming over, so that's really good to see. So that I think having the Wildcats and the big dogs just coming up, that actually really boosted it. I don't think it would have been as much people if the Wildcat girls didn't come. It was really good. It was good to see. So I'm really excited to see. Obviously, I'll be just in the stands now, but I'm really excited to see how it's going to grow, not only in Australia but in the world.
Yeah. And so going back to so when you started lifting weights, when you were growing up, did you start rugby at an early age?
Yeah, I started when I was 6, 7, something like that. We started early, but rugby, you're in America, are you, or you're in Canada?
Canada, yeah. We got a lot of the same sports as America, though.
Yeah, but you're in Canada at the moment, eh?
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Yes. Well, actually, they've got rugby league over there now. Rugby, obviously, it's a different sport, but that's like nearly gospel back in New Zealand. A lot of the Kiwis love their rugby. But I played rugby league, which is another sport, and you've got it over there too. I think one of our international lifters are going over to Canada to play, and I think he got offered for 2 years, 10 million. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
But he's 10 million for 2 years. So. I think, and he's 34. He's on the way up for rugby, but he's reaping his benefits because he's played in the best team in the world, so in rugby. So, and good on him. But I wanted to be All Black. But that's our national side. But my old man got me into the rugby league. So, but I've really appreciated what he's did for me, and I don't think and it's made me who I am today, playing footy. Just really giving them mentality when it gets tough in powerlifting. Yeah. It helps me strive to go forward, because I've had a lot. I mean, a lot of people see your achievements, but they don't see you want the ones that you don't get. And I've had a lot. I've had a lot of injuries. I've had a lot of
What kind of injuries do you? Because in North America, we're obviously aware of rugby, but it's not quite as big as, like, for instance, in New Zealand. Everyone knows the All Blacks. Doesn't matter where you go in the world, everybody knows the All Blacks. And we're used to seeing, like, football, American rules football is far more popular over in North America. And you hear a lot about, like the injuries and CTE and stuff that happens with American football. And it's starting to take a bit of a hit in popularity because of those injuries, and especially to the head. It's tough. But in terms of rugby, for people who don't know, is it as drastic? Is there as many concussions? Is it or because there's less padding, is it more respect and a little more respect for the opponent's bodies? Or how did you find it?
I think a lot of the gridiron boys, I think they've been, a lot of them that come over here from America and Canada, when I've met them, they always say, "Oh, you guys are mad, you're not wearing padding," but I think they've been humble. A lot of those guys, I've seen them, they're pretty big boys, and I'm pretty confident without the padding, they'll still hit as hard as they would with the padding. But you get a lot of concussions in our league, and I think now with they bring in the TMO now, and you have to if you've got days or whatever on the field, you have to come off and you have to get a test and all that.
Yeah.
So they're really onto that now. So we didn't know before. As long as you get up, you just keep on playing. But you know how to do that now.
Yeah, it's crazy. I remember those days. I remember those days, like even like high school or university, when we'd watch, like, it was American rules football, but a dude can get laid out, take off a couple plays, come back in the same game, and now that would never happen.
No, it's illegal.
Yeah, it's illegal. Yeah,
the doctors get in trouble. The organisation get in trouble. They especially, and it's good in a way, but because just in case the guy's probably got a family, and if something goes wrong with him and he loses his life, geez.
Yeah.
At least everyone knows it could have been, and that's why they're preventing that. So it's in a good way. I think there's some that probably need to let go. It's a little bit, suspect, but no, I think in general, they're doing the right thing. Because at the end of the day, safety comes first.
Do you have did you take any bad body injuries in rugby that you carried on into powerlifting that have been nagging injuries?
Yeah, well, the ultimate one for me, and that's why I actually stopped footy, is when I tore my anterior cruciate, and then I did that when I was 18, obviously 40 now, but 41, and just over the years I was just running with it, because they didn't operate on it, because they reckon my quads were strong enough to hold it, so they didn't operate on it, so they left it. But just over those years it was just grinding, It it was just movement, you know, and that's how I got osteoarthritis on my knee, and that's why I couldn't run no more. And it's probably got to the point now. I've got 10 years out of powerlifting, you know, and I'm really happy with that. I'm lucky, God willing, but you know, like it's come to the point where it's probably it's towards the end there. I can't, even though we don't run, you know, you still grind it, and you know, like 470, 460 will grind it down, you know.
Yeah.
Bone on bone.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember seeing a study on like sports in general on what was like safe, relatively safe, and which sports had injuries. In like rugby, football, because it's body on body clashing. But in terms of like powerlifting, because it's all linear movements, it's relatively safe, so to speak. Because it's up down.
Yeah, it's just up down. It's just one way. Yeah. But see, lucky for me, it was good there. But don't get me wrong, it was still my knee still got sore, obviously, because it was bone on bone over the years.
Oh,
and
wow.
you know, here and there, I took the painkillers. But this year I took the leading into the comp, probably the most, well, not I didn't OD on it, but it's probably the most painkillers I've taken. And then I realised, you know, I don't want to be doing that for any longer. I don't want to be doing that for longer than 10 weeks. So and that's why I decided that's time for me. You know, I'm going to make sure I can walk later.
Yeah. So when you started powerlifting and you found it, and you had a feeling I might be good at this, you started off on more of a novice level and started picking up some steam. How big were you at the time, body weight wise?
Yeah, I was always around, because when I finished footy, I was about 105. But yeah, I always traveling around 115. And then and then I went up to about 120. I stayed there for a little while. But I was 120, around 120.
Yeah.
Felt a lot better then too. No, well, I was obviously a lot stronger now, but you know, as you put on weight, you know, you're not as mobile, you know, doing the normal things. But I mean, that's it in powerlifting, you know, to lift the heavy weight. You know, if you want to go against a super heavyweight, you have to be heavy, you know. But I'm just glad that I didn't have no health issues doing it, and I always got blood tests. Make sure we're what, so all good.
Yeah, and did you have to like eat a lot of food to get to this size? Was it like a force? Like, do you think now? Because you're done. You've decided you're done powerlifting. Is that right?
Yeah, that's it. That's what I mean. I can finally be a father now. You know, like a lot. People don't realize that. You know, it took a lot of sacrifices and a lot of trainings to get where we are at the moment. You know, don't get me wrong. You know, I appreciate the journey with powerlifting, and you know, it helped me. You know, like find myself and create, you know, get better character and all that. But you know, I just wish that, you know, for the sacrifices we made, I wish we could have made the money that I was making in footy. But, you know, I believe powerlifting will be like that later on in life. It's just the same as it wasn't now. But a lot for the sacrifices we had, like I had to do, you know, I think the wife wanted to leave me quite twice. Always away, because always away. Even on your off days, I was always at the chiropractor, you know, getting a massage. I was always doing something to get better, always something. I was always doing something to go and move forward, and that was nearly a 7-day thing. But I only trained about 4 or 5 times a week in the off season. But you know, the other 2 days I was always doing something to prep for, you know, make myself better, like whether it be at the physio, you know, or you know, just trying to get better for the next week's training.
In terms of like, if someone was to think about like what a day in your life would be for training, what was that look like? Like, what are your training days?
Well, to be totally honest, because you know, even like they call us pros, but at the end of the day, we still have to work. I still have to work. We still have to work. So you know, you got 8 out 9 hours days there, and then you've got to go to the gym, and especially when it's heavy. You know, like I think a lot of the powerlifters the super heavyweights can relate to this. You know, it takes about an hour just to warm up. You know, to the heavyweight, it takes about an hour just to warm up. Yeah, especially whether it be 400 or 4. I never go over my openers in the gym. But you know, even when I'm warming up to 360, it still takes me around 40 minutes to an hour. So there you go there. But and then by the time you do it, and then you got to do your assistance work after that. You know, it's nearly 2.5 hours. So it's pretty intense. You know, the time. You know, like I think when I was before powerlifting, you know, in that 2 years before I actually changed over between the transition of rugby league, you know, I was just doing bodybuilding training, which was still hard too. But see, sometimes when I was sick or when I was, you know, injured, I could bring the weight back. You know, you can get a pump out of like something real light, but in powerlifting, it has to be heavy, you know. Oh, well, it has to be reasonably heavy, you know. Just especially when you're prepping for a comp, can't back off. Otherwise, yeah, it sadly drains your mind, you know. And you're thinking, oh, you're going to be weak. Can you do the comp? So it's you know, let's just say you're always going heavy. But in the off season, I take it right back to 60%, which is a godsend because you don't want to be doing 470 and 460 every week of the year.
Do you think that's probably how you were able to last as long as you did, is by doing like an off season and allowing yourself, you know, lay the weights back a little bit and kind of season it a little bit?
Yeah, because there was a lot of guys that always wanted to train me, and I always told them that I'm probably not the best, the best client to take because I always worked around my injuries. My training was always worked around my injuries, you know, especially my knees. So I always did the bare minimum. When I first started, I could do 10 tens easy. But as I got to about 35, you know, I had to back off because my knee was starting to get a lot, you know, like, a lot of inflammation. So I had to just do the bare minimum.
Yeah.
So, you know, 3 tens was just enough. Believe it or not, I know a lot of the other younger guys, you know, that's nothing for them, you know. But 3 tens was just enough, and then I'll just go do leg extensions or something. And that worked for me. Just do the bare minimum. Only, not because I wanted to, but it's only because that was the only way I could do it, because otherwise my knee would just seize up.
So did you do a lot of your own like programming and coaching then?
Yeah, I always did my own. I had a lot of coaches with me, but my always had my own. I was always, the last 2 years I was under Glenn Hansen. He did my off season, but the prep going into comp, I was always mine because I've always trialed and error that, and it worked. So I just kept to that one. But in the off season, you know, I just made, you know, I let another guy help me out, and it was just in the off season. It's just all about you know, just the higher reps, more than one rep, obviously.
Yeah.
So we always did the tens and all that. Not the young fellas, but I was in the 10 arena, but just as long as you get the pump, so it's pretty much near like bodybuilding training. But yeah, it's good. The off season actually was the one that we did the work, and when you did the prep leading in the 10 weeks, that was the manifestation of what you did in the off season. So they were both important.
You know, it's funny. Like, yeah, I know what you mean when you say that. Where oftentimes it's in the off season when you're doing like volume work and it's nowhere near as attractive. Like, people wouldn't want to, you know, posting it on Instagram, etc. It wouldn't be as impressive for people to watch. But that usually is where the foundation is laid. You know, if you're gonna have a good prep, you know, if you put your work in, and it's easy enough when the weight is light to kind of drag your feet when you're away from the competition, and you can miss some days here and there, and you know. But when we start coming into the competition, how did you end up devising, like early on, does your training now at the end look way different than it was, let's say, even at 35 years old when your peaking was concerned? And how did you make those adjustments?
I think, when I look back now, I wish I would have had this the last 3 years when I had the programs that I had the last 3 years.
Yeah.
I wish I would have used that earlier, but hey, you know, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
But because before I was just whatever. And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of mentors and all that. Social media, and you could see what they were doing, but it just didn't work for me, what they were doing. So I had to trial and error my own little thing, because I couldn't do as much volume as what they wanted you to do. And I think, and then I just realised that it's my way is the best way, and we get the result in the end. So I just kept it my way. It's like a linear periodization. Sorry, bro. I'm just talking. Oh, sorry, my daughter.
Yeah, that's okay. We got a cameo appearance.
yeah, my daughter. Yeah, sorry. So we just I just did my own custom. I started off with Ed Cohen programs too, and I still kind of use that, but I've got my own little customized way of doing things, and it worked. But even with that, me perfecting that, my knee was still sore, so that's why we had to find a way to move on. I'm going to move on. Life curtains will close for OTL for powerlifting, so I have to move on and help my kids with their sports journey.
Do you think? So was your goal, you were going to retire regardless whether or not you won Big Dogs 4 or not? Was it always going to be that?
Yeah, for sure. Because actually, I made the decision in May this year because I went back to New Zealand for a holiday, but that was still in my off season, and my knee was just really bad, and I was on the painkillers then, and I realised I'm not even lifting heavy, and it's still pretty sore. And normally when it gets sore, it goes away, but it stayed for a good 3 months. And I was going, oh, gee, this is going to be tough, and I don't want to be taking just really, checking the painkillers just to mask it. This is the reason why it's sore, but.
Yeah.
And then somehow I come right just after that, and I've got a lot of got a lot of sponsors backing me down here in Australia, and I've got I've got my coaches and all that, my trainers. They're all getting behind me, and I don't pay them. Obviously it's an amateur sport. I don't pay them, but these fellas still get there, after their days, and they help me out. So I just thought, I have to make sure that we finish and we continue to go to big dogs, which was the goal that we made last year. So here we are, and we got the win, so it was a long time coming.
Speaking of last year, so you came in second, and it was close. Especially for the percentage differences between first and second was extremely close. Do you think if you won last year, you would have called it quits then? Or did you? No?
No, I was always going to do this year again. I think the wife wanted me to finish maybe 2 years before that. but I think after going to big dogs last year and the pro rule, she's never been to a comp with me. She was really she didn't realise how intense it was, and she really, not that she didn't respect me, but she respected what I did, and she realised why I sacrificed a lot of time. She had to come to a comp to realise that, and pro rule was pretty intense, and obviously big dogs didn't realise how intense it was, and that's what she went. She actually changed her mind, and she said, "Oh, I'm with you no matter what, love," because I realised, what you're doing and what you're doing for the sport. So she, but she not only helped me with that. I decided that I wanted to finish powerlifting this year because I think that my knees come to an end. Oh, so whatever. Somehow, it gets cured, and there's the cure for it. I lost the arthritis, and I get cured. Well, that's a different story. But at the moment, no, my knees. I think it's done.
and so your wife had not seen you compete before.
She could actually. Sorry, I lied. She saw me compete my second comp.
Yeah.
And she loved that. But then that was back in 2009.
Wow.
So really? she went to her first comp in 2018, and that was a big one. That was pro rule, and that was after I had 2 years off because I took my quad right off the body, but stripped my tendon quad bone off the bone. So it was the doctors reckons I wouldn't come back. And after about a year, I think they were right. It was a long time coming. It took me ages. And then when I come back, it was mental.
Yeah.
Mentally, it was hard to get back, But when I blew my quad off the bone, it just really got me. But I made sure that I was still determined to get back. And when we got back to pro rule, I ended up getting my #1 status in Australia, and we ended up getting our records back. So it was really something that I'll never forget. That's probably the best memory I've had in powerlifting.
So this is developing into quite the story then. So for the longest time, your wife had not seen you compete. And then, how old were you when you blew your quad off?
I was 2000, so I was 3 years. Yeah, I think I was 38, something like that.
39, so you were middle-aged man, blew the quad right off.
It blew it off.
And that is, so I can imagine what the doctors and your wife probably saying, middle-aged man, this is where the story ends. It's not going to be glorious. It's not going to be the Netflix movie style ending. And you're listening to this, and the one knee's got no cartilage, the other leg's got no, you're lowest of the lows right now. And everyone's telling you to wrap it up.
No, that was when, nobody could tell me that. I was always pretty, well, not ruthless, but just pretty, just pig-headed in that way, but nobody could tell me that I couldn't, and I made sure that we made it back. But it was a long journey. It was a long journey because I had my little setup at home, so I train when I can. I probably trained too early. I come back to work earlier than what I thought, but I had no choice because I had no sickies left, so no holidays, so I had to work. Lucky I'm a truck driver, so it was a blessing there, so I didn't have to do that much. But Yeah, it was a long time coming. It was. I actually did that. I actually did that quad injury when I was doing a seminar too, which was quite embarrassing. I was teaching people how to squat.
What?
Yeah.
What? Sorry for laughing.
Yeah.
It's in the past, so we can laugh about it now.
Oh man, I laugh about it all the time, but in a lot of ways it's embarrassing. Than like telling me because everybody laughs, but I'll laugh with you too. That was that was used too. But yeah, no, I blew my quad when I was at a seminar. In a seminar, I was teaching them how to squat. I blew my quad.
Like what? Wowzers!
Oh.
How did it happen? Was the bar heavily loaded, or was it just an awkward movement, or?
Yeah, just it was. Oh, you respect all weight. I think it was 340, and then that was my last one. I was going to do about four or 5 reps, and yeah, I went down for the first rep and just fell on my face.
Holy.
And actually, when I was on the ground, when I was on the ground, I told them this is not how you squat. You know what you mean, but
They're like, this is not part of the show, ladies and gentlemen. I am not faking it. They're like, is he faking? Is he playing with us right now?
Yeah, that's it. No, it was it was really embarrassing. Really, it didn't really hurt really at the time, maybe because I was more embarrassed. But I went to I got an ambulance straight away, and there was another something the following day that they had a comp the following day, which I was supposed to come, and I was supposed to be with the lifters and just encourage them. And I still come the next day, but I was hopping around because I couldn't get surgery because I was over at another state, and they wouldn't because it was Sunday. They wouldn't they couldn't do anything till the Monday. But I was leaving on the plane on the Monday, so I had to get on the plane, sedated with drugs because I was painful, and go back to where I live, which is in central Queensland, and that's where we got the work done there. But yeah, it was hard to walk through the airport. I tell you, like that.
I can imagine some poor kid looks up to you, got tickets to your seminar, he's lifting the next day, he's looking for some inspiration, watches you pull your quad out, and he's like, oh, yeah. He goes to bed, he's rattled, he's like, oh my God, he's all rattled for the next day when he's competing. Holy moly, that's traumatic.
Yeah, I think I gave him the real good confidence.
You were like, listen everybody, I want to show you what not to do, and I'm sacrificing my body to do it.
Yeah, the sacrifice did all right, but yeah, that was something to remember. But it was good, really, to bounce back from that. About 2 years after that, because I missed one of the big dogs, and then I obviously come back to fight. Because I did put my hand up for a year after that for that following year, big dogs. I think it was big dogs, the first one. I think it was the first one, no, the second one, and then I pulled out of that one too. But then we come back on the third one, which is last year. So it was good.
When you were coming back, like, what kind of a comeback story are we looking at? Like, at the lowest of the low, when that quad was torn off of your body, what were you able to do? Like, I can only imagine the fact that you had to go around a couple days without surgery, and you had to take a plane, which, man, if I take a plane, I'm already, complaining, being uncomfortable. But how could you like walk and stand on crutches without, because I remember I tore my calf. In my torn calf, if I was on my feet, and it was a full rupture as well, on crutches, I can only be on crutches on my feet for a limited time because it'll swell up full of blood and the pain will be incredible. I gotta lay down. I couldn't even be on my feet. I had to drag myself sometimes to go to the washroom or get something to eat.
Yeah, that's it. Like actually, the night of my, I got, when I got the surgery done, I think it was a week after that. And I'm glad because I didn't have private health cover. So I went through the pub. Obviously over here in Australia, you can go through the public system, and they were good here. The locals here, they got me in. I think somebody that knew me in powerlifting talked to the doctor, so I was lucky enough to get that. I was privileged enough. But yeah, I think once I got the surgery done, and I got up and started walking straight away.
Oh wow!
Because they wanted me to go on the wheelchair, but the wheelchair was actually making me bend my knee. When you're over it,
yeah,
it was actually hurting. So I actually found it better just to fully extend your leg and just walk on it. It was actually easier. And you should have saw the doctors. Ooh, gee. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
But I knew what they were saying because you're not allowed to walk on it, but it was easier for me to go to the toilet just kind of walking like that than to go on the wheelchair. It actually hurt. But Yeah, no, it's actually come back stronger. Don't get me wrong, it hasn't been the same. I've only probably just got a little bit of feeling in it now because it's been numb, from opening up. But just it took me ages to walk, to get back to normal walking the way I walk, because it just didn't feel the same. But obviously squatted, come back and squatted better than I did before. So I will just take that as a positive.
It's almost
We've got to win.
It's almost like it put a little pep in your step.
Well, because I was really determined to make it back, and a lot of people, when I come back, I don't think they realise that I come to take the record back. I kept that quiet. Me and my team kept that quiet. I think they were just, I think the record was 1070 or 1080, and I got 1090 that day. But a lot of people thought I was just coming just to show up and just get 1,000, which is still good too.
Yeah,
it's still good. It's still massive, but no, I come to do the job because we did all the training. We knew that what we could do, and it come off. So, and then we went off to the big dogs after that, which was last year, and then here we are today. Here we are on Saturday too, so it was good.
And when you were, so did the doctors think when you told them what you do and you're a power lifter and you told them the type of weight that you move, because they found that obviously when you go in there with a torn quad, they're like, what happened? And did you tell them, I'm coming back? And did they tell you, you're crazy? You're a middle-aged man and your leg is completely ruptured. I mean, this thing tore right off the bone. What are the doctors looking at you and telling you when you're in that situation?
Oh, and of course, a lot of the doctors there, they thought I was crazy and all that, and it didn't really matter what they said to me. All I knew is the self belief I had in myself, and I knew I could get through it.
Wow.
I think my wife, was was a little bit humming and ahhing, but she just didn't want me to get hurt. But I had something to prove, and I just wanted to. And a lot of the reason why I did this powerlifting is really just to, leave a positive legacy for everybody that not just young people, but anybody that when the storms come, you just got to fight it, and just as long as you're moving forward, that's a good thing. So, and that's why I did that, and that's why I did powerlifting in general too, because I just wanted to prove that, anything's possible. And, we've achieved a lot, but don't get me wrong, I've achieved a lot because I've had a lot of good people around me. The Australians have been really good. I'm a Kiwi, New Zealander, but the Australians have been really good. I wouldn't have did it without them, and it's a team effort. We go out there on our own on the platform, but no, to get out there on our own, we had a team. So it's been a huge blessing.
When you started your training back, and you said it was like a long road back, but what kind of weights were you starting with and started moving? Because for a while there, just walking was a win. Just like, squatting and doing the motions, no weights is a win. And people might not understand just how long, like, in terms of you just loading the bar with, a plate aside can be a victory. Doing that, like, I think Brendan Allen's going through some massive injuries as well. And,
I see that. I see Brendan. I messaged him too before, and I wished him the best. But he's in the same road as what I was doing. Same thing.
People don't.
But he'll be back. He'll be back.
People don't realize that you can go mentally in a dark place. Like he had said briefly, we had him on the podcast. He's like, man, it's not easy mentally when this is what you do as a stress reliever. This is what you have all these hopes, and all of a sudden, boom, it's taken away. It's not like, in your instance, it could have been taken away. You ended up coming back and leaving on your own terms, which is entirely different, which is like the way you want the story to end. But when you feel like for a minute, like I had all the things I wanted to do before I left, and it's almost like it's gonna get taken away from me. And there's got to be. Yeah. Was there moments when you're like on the bottom end and you're moving such small weight and it's painful, getting to depth is difficult, where you're like, you're home alone and your wife's like, are you sure this is what you want to do? The doctors are like, I don't think this is gonna happen, and you don't really have much reason to hope, and you're like, man, this is gut check time. This is the gut check time.
I think I started squatting. Oh, it was ugly, but I think I squatted about 260, 300 an inch. I shouldn't tell people this, but don't encourage them. I think it was like 5 months after
wow.
I think it was something like that. It was just like when I did my my bicep. I tore that off the bone too. I was deadlifting about 3 weeks after. So I don't know what happened there. It just healed straight away. Because I think because when you do it, you did it because you didn't fully extend your arm. So when I fully extended my arm when I was doing the deadlift straight after 3 or 4 weeks after the surgery, it didn't hurt. It was obviously if you're going to do bicep curls, it's going to hurt. But with the bicep tendon tear I had when I did 400, I tried to do 400 back in 2015. That just really pulled my arm up too. But at the end of the day, I've recovered from that quickly too. But obviously the quad one took longer. But I think I squatted quite reasonably heavy. I think it was 5 months out. But
is there risk of re-injury? Did the doctor say there was risk of re-injury if you lift or?
Yep, he said that it has to heal. I think it won't fully heal. And after 6 months, that's when you start gradually, lifting light weights. After that, because that's when it fully heals and it mends to the bone or whatever. But no, I think it was about 4 or 5 months I was squatting. Just quietly, and don't get me wrong, it's probably really silly to do it foolish, but I just wanted to get back, and we were going all right. I think I'll try and send you the old videos, but I've got it on my Instagram. But I did it a little bit early with that one too. But don't get me wrong, I was still struggling. It took a good year to really squat well, but then and then after that it was just mental breaking down that mental barrier, thinking, oh gee, it's going to happen again. But the doctors actually, even though they didn't want me to do heavy, they actually helped me because they said that it's actually stronger than it was when they sew it back to your bone or whatever they do, they bring it back to the bone. They whatever they put on it, they told me that it's actually stronger than it was before.
They should have told you.
So I don't know why they said that, and they said I'll never do it again. So on paper, really, it's better.
You're like doctor. You're giving me mixed signals here.
So they actually gave me confidence when they said that. So I said, oh well, I'll just take that one. I don't want to take the other one that you said that I'll never lift heavy. I'll just take it that it's actually stronger than it was before.
Yeah. Do you find some people find that using wraps might increase injuries, especially with the quad? I think there's been a couple of lifters that I've had on that said that they thought maybe wraps might increase quad injuries. Have you found that, or did that make you at all a little hesitant? Because obviously, big dogs, you're going to be using wraps.
Oh no, wraps! I had no. As you know, that I've got torn cruciates in both legs. So wraps actually act as an extra, like a normal cruciate that everybody else has for me. I've still got torn cruciates, but they didn't. Because when I actually finished footy, I actually did. Just before why. Not only why I finished footy because of the knee, but my last game I actually did my interior cruciate on my left. So I've got both torn cruciates and it's just stayed like that. So I'd say my left knee will probably end up being like that later on in life too, like my right knee, which is osteoarthritis. But you just got to move forward. It's been a good journey.
Is it almost like? So when you were coming back and from like you have knee injuries, obviously the massive quad tear, and the doctors are saying you shouldn't do this, etc. You almost knew, I don't want the story to end like that. This is not how the story ends. I'm not going to be one of those stories people tell that's like, oh yeah, it's a sad story. You knew I only got a limited amount of time. Now, middle-aged man, and the biggest show is going to be Big Dogs 4, and you couldn't have picked a bigger competition to aim for. Like, this is like, you could have went for smaller. Did you knew, like, it's got to be Big Dogs 4. I'm going where the biggest competition is. Like, this is, you couldn't have picked it. This is like straight out of a movie. And you're like, I'm going out on my own terms. And it's almost like the clock was ticking down. If you didn't hit it this one, this could have ended entirely different. Your story could have been totally different. You picked the toughest competition to sign up for. And you were telling yourself, I'm retired after this no matter what. When you were leading into this, and you knew that this is like an all or nothing type of deal, walking in there in the last week leading into Big Dogs 4, how did you feel about it? Were you like, did you feel extra pressure due to that? Did you feel almost like you know, because it's kind of a weird thing. Not many people are going to know, like, this definitively, this is the end. And it's, oh, by the way, the biggest competition, the strongest men in the world are here. The biggest checks are here. You know, you couldn't have picked a bigger stage, and it's all coming to an end right now. You know, it's either going to be a great comeback. How did you feel about that?
I think, well, there's always, you know, I won't lie, there was a lot of pressure. I was nervous and all that, but, you know, I think coming from footy, you know, I was used to that, you know, having under pressure, nervous, leading into a tough game, and obviously in this sense, a big comp. But I've always said, leading into a comp, especially a week out, it reminds me of when I used to play footy. You know, just the banter and, you know, the nerves. Myself, don't get me wrong, I'm always nervous too, but I love that because it reminds me of my footy days. But it was you know, it was a lot of pressure. I admit, because I had my parents come to watch me. My mum come from New Zealand to watch me, especially.
Oh,
my auntie.
wow.
My kids come up. All my kids come.
Yeah.
My boy. Yeah. So, you know, like, you know, it was, and obviously my fans that follow me. I've got a huge fan base down here and around the world, and they were hoping for me to, you know, get something reasonable. And I'll admit, brother, you know, it was a tough one. The last one, you know, like there was a lot of technical issues, you know, with my rack height and all that. We thought we had it in the back, the right height, and then we come out and it was just on my nose. You know, I don't know what happened, but you know, and it was probably just, it was our fault. We didn't do the heights probably, and that's why they had to change it for my opener. And then, you know, obviously you saw the screen, you know, when you fell over.
Yeah, so I want to talk about.
It was a tough day, but I'm glad we got the win.
I want to talk about that. So okay, so first off, your wife.
Yeah, sorry, I went straight into it.
Yeah. So your wife had not only, this is a good story. So not only were you coming in there knowing this is it, this is that movie moment, the big comeback, the underdog, middle-aged man coming in off of a career-ending injury, and you're like, this is the last one. Your wife shows up and hadn't seen you lift, and like, you know, she's just starting to. She came. Had your parents and your kids? This is all new. Like, is this like the first time everyone had showed up for a competition like that?
Yeah, I think there's obviously the wife come to last year's big dog, and obviously the pro raw that year, which was last year. But yeah, it's the first time everybody's been together, you know, with all my kids and my parents.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, like it just that alone was a lot of pressure too, to be honest with you, especially with my mum. You know, my mum's always been, you know, when we marry our wife, you know, when you get married, you know, she's obviously the new boss. Yeah. But your mum's always the original boss.
Yeah.
You know? Your mum, you know, it's like mum's cooking. There's nothing better than mum's cooking. Mum is a good cook too, but there's always something about mum's cooking where that's just like, you know, like she tried to pull me up. So I was really hoping to perform well for my mum. So it was actually a tough day, but we still got the win.
Did you have weird emotions knowing this was the last one?
Of course. You know, I think I put a video on Instagram leading in straight after work, and I don't know why, but I just realised that I was ready to go to training. And I realised that that's the last time I'll be training as an elite powerlifter.
Yeah.
I'll be still training, but I just like training for elite powerlifter, and it was quite emotional. But I didn't cry. I wanted to. Don't get me wrong. I can admit you know, because it's been a long journey, and, you know, I've met a lot of people in my journey, and they've really helped me, and I'm going to miss them all. And you know, I've met a lot of weird people too, but I'm weird too, so I mix them quite well.
Well, that's we're throwing back to Brendan Allen actually.
Yeah, Brandon. Oh man, me and him got on well. Brandon's he's a competitor. I think me and him got the same mentality when it comes to comp. He's a really. I really enjoyed my time with that guy last year. He was him and his wife. He's really good to his wife, and I mean that's what I like about a lifter too, when they're good to their partners. And obviously, I'm not saying that I haven't seen that yet, because there's a lot of guys that are good with their partners and kids. So you know, that's what the sport's about. You know, like, you know, not only we're good on, you know, we lift weights, but we'll make sure that we're good family men. You know.
Yeah, it's the people you can meet in powerlifting. It brings everyone from, you know, doctors to like all walks of life, basically the whole spectrum. We take it all, you know, and people from all over the world, all different backgrounds. It's a beautiful thing. And I know, like, I mean, I haven't been in that situation, but I can only imagine when you're leading into a competition and like the whole family showing up and the whole lead in where you know, like, this is the last one. And yeah, when you, it's like working at a place or graduating from a school you've been in for 10 years where like your last big squat day, you're like, oh my God, this is the last big squat day. Like, not just for this competition, period. After this, it's recreational. Your last big bench day, it's the last big ever. That's very traumatic for people who, this was a part of your life, you know.
It was. Because I met my brother, like, when I was playing footy, I actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I actually walked away from the sport, attitude problem, you know, just typical young fella, but I actually walked away from the sport, which is pretty sad, and I always said that if then I tried to make it back again, but obviously, you know, with the knee, that stopped it, but so that chapter was gone. So, but I always thought, you know, I always felt that, you know, if God gave me another chance in another sport, I'll make sure I'll give it my all.
Yeah.
And that's when he gave me. Obviously, when I did powerlifting, I said I'm going to give this 100%. And it's been 10 years I've given 100% to the sport. You know, like I said, there's been a lot of sacrifices. I think my wife wanted to leave me twice, but and you know, my kids, you know, I don't get me wrong, I probably couldn't be there for their sporting journey because I'm always away, always doing something to be better in powerlifting. So now I can do that. I was always a father, but I can be the ultimate father now.
Yeah.
You know, where I can really help them in what they want to do. And obviously, it's not just my kids, you know, I'll be helping others that are, you know, aspire to be elite powerlifters or whatever. You know, just help them out in any way I can with my experiences to guide them in the right direction.
Well, here's the thing too, like, not only can you be there, but mentally, you know, when you have something coming up, a big event coming up, it's on your mind. Even when you're present, mentally, sometimes when it's on your mind. And I know what you mean, where you could be at certain events physically, but, you know, when something's dominating your life, you know, you got the pressure coming up. It's hard to be always present there emotionally, mentally. And like in the end, when your kids grow up and look back at your story and hear like stories like this, I mean, it's got to be inspirational. I can only imagine.
Well, hopefully, you know, hopefully, but yeah, we achieved it. Like I said, like I know, and I got up there, we achieved a few things here and there, but you know, I couldn't have did it without my team. But yeah, and I always said that, you know, there's something I can tell my grandchildren. You know, a cup of tea and biscuits later on. On the couch, and I just tell them, I used to lift. They probably won't believe me because I would have been ballooned up by then. But I think a lot of super heavyweights, my brother, like I think Chad Wesley said something about super heavyweights. You know, it's about, you know, really, it's about making sure your knees are good and your heart's good. You know, because you even though you're lifting heavyweight, you're heavy too. You know, and that's putting pressure on your heart, and that's why I always, you know, I know I'm jumping the gun into another subject, but always emphasise on the guys when they meet me. I say always make sure you're healthy, you know, because no use doing stuff like this, having fun, knowing that, you know, it could be bad for your health, you know. And I always make sure that. Oh, there was one time my cholesterol went up, and that was after Christmas. You know? You know, of course it's going to go up after Christmas. And then it went down, because the doctor was stressing. I said, mate, it was Christmas, mate. You know, I had quick cakes and party, you know, whatever, you know?
Yeah, so let me live.
It wasn't my power, it was just 8 heaps. You know?
I think we probably monitor our health. Like, the older you get, the more you start realizing things like that and taking it more serious. When you're younger, you just think this is going to go on forever. You just treat your body however. You know, you can rough it up, and you just don't take it. The older you get, the more. I mean, we're aging ourselves. We're starting to, but it's so cliche.
You look young, brother. You look young.
Hey, you do too. You
look young, brother.
You do too. But
maybe you might have to make big dogs this year. Take over, mate. Take over.
That's right. That's right. So on the Big Dogs 4, let's get into this because this is some dramatic stuff.
Okay.
You show up for the squats. and obviously the rack height's all off, and you had a major, like when you took that one squat and that weight went flying off your back, and you knew all the pressure that's in there with this is my last competition ever, the family's all here, and you probably have told yourself, do you do visualization before competitions?
Of course, I to the point actually have to be at the comp, because I get there about a week before the comp, and I always like to actually go in where we are, but they didn't open it until the day, so anything I can to, like I like to do my squat, so see what the squat rack mono we're using, but it didn't come until that day. But yeah, I always like to visualize it. I think for everybody now, next year, they can visualize that have been there this year. They can visualize what's going to happen next year because it's in the same place.
Yeah,
it's not changed. So you know where it's going to be. You know where the warm up's going to be. You know where how it's set up, and that's why I always like to. I actually bug Marcos. He's the promoter. He's the boss of Pro Raw, and I always give him a lot of questions. I go, who's the spotters, who's the judges, all that, just so I can get in my head. Not because I want any special treatment. I just want to know in my head who I'm seeing, visualize who I'm going to see, and then that that way you can get yourself really mentally prepared the best way you can. So when you come on a day, it takes takes the edge off, really, because you're stressed on the day.
Yeah, really, so it feels like you've been there before. Well, so when you went into the squats, having said that, and this is where the story gets interesting. Let's walk us through your first, second, and third attempts. The weights and what happens.
Yeah, well, the first attempt was the 440. Actually, the warm up leading into that, I did the 410 warming in, and I actually nearly fell over. I don't know what happened. We set up wrong in the back too, and I've never did that. So I went up with that too. I wasn't confident from that, but we went up and the rack heights were wrong. We did it at the back, that mono. I went under the back and we said it was 7. And all my team, we said, yeah, that's good. That's the right height. That's low enough. And we got out. It was different height.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there. And I'm not blaming big dish. Hey, it's my fault. Maybe we just didn't double check it. And I went out there, and then obviously they had to play around with it. I think it took it, because how you're wrapping tight too, like you're still waiting, you only want to be in your wraps for about a minute max, and I think I was in longer than that. So when I actually went to go squat, I actually couldn't feel my feet. So, and there's no excuses, and I just fell over, just lost balance. But we come back in the second attempt, and we got it, and then I actually wanted 465 when I last, but I put 470, and I realised, no, we'll just put 465, and then at least that's a PB that from last year, 5 kg PB. But when I went back to go tell them, they said you can't change it. so I had to go 470. So obviously 470 was on a good day. It was going to be my second attempt, but because we fell over and it really jolted my confidence, it had to be my last. If not, it wasn't going to be at all. So we did that, and luckily we come away with that one. But it was a tough day. Probably one of the toughest comps I've did, and it had to be my last one.
and when you missed that opener, because it wasn't just, it actually went over the weight, down the front. Did it rattle you? Because I was like watching it live. That was a lot of weight, and it went flying out there. Knowing, this is the last one, this could not have been how you visualized it. You're like, was it a little rattling? Where you're like, holy moly, this isn't the way I wanted it to go.
Yeah, it's not the way I wanted to go. And actually, when I was walking out after I did that, I just, I was thinking, in my head, I hope we don't bomb.
Yeah.
But my team got us together. My father came around the back, and he had a chat to me, and they really boosted me up. And I realised, I've got to dig deep here, and then we went and did our second attempt, and we got it. So we got back on the board.
And when you hit that, the emotion you let out, when you started hammering the barbell, we righted that shit.
I was just relieved, man. It was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Pressure that day, but if the people come for entertainment, well, that was the one there. it wasn't entertaining for my team.
Yeah.
But it was entertaining for everybody, you know, like keep them on their toes and all that. So that's what they come to watch. They want to come to watch. Well, I obviously provided that for them.
And did you so after the squat event, were you thinking, because obviously you came for the win, you know, this is how you want the story to end. With the way the squat event went, were you at all rattled at all, or were you watching what everyone else was doing, or was your faith at all rattled in terms of coming out with the win after the squat event? How were you feeling? Because it was slightly off the script, but you were able to come back.
Yeah, well, I think we ended up having the bigger squat. I didn't think I'll get the big squat that day, but we did, and yeah, I was just happy we got that because we as you can see, that actually probably won because I pulled up on the bench. That actually, and on deadlift I didn't go too well neither because of my hands. That actually won the comp for me, getting that head start on the squats. Actually won the comp for me, so we ended up being
you won.
Relieving.
Correct me if I'm wrong. How many kilos did you win by?
I think I won by 10. But Graham, if he would have won by 2.5, and it was really close over Graham Hicks. I just want to put a shout out to Graham too. What a nice guy. You know, just fit and strong as man. You know, rookie, and he got 1100 kg, and real nice, and a family man too. That'll be why I really, and his wife's beautiful, and he paying his baby. So all the best to you, Graham. I'd say he'll be up there again next year too. You know, there'll be a lot of other fellas coming too, but he'll go well.
Yeah. So were you because it was so exciting in the squat event, in terms of your like adrenaline, was it easy to keep it carrying through right to the deadlifts? Like I failed before, and it can rattle you, and if the bar goes over the head like that, and then to come back and hit such a huge squat and have a personal best like that, did you take a little bit out of you that more than you had suspected, or?
Yeah, the first attempt did. I actually saw stars straight after. I did actually as I walked back. I was feeling a little bit daisy, but I didn't tell. Obviously, you know, no, I didn't tell my team because I know what they would have did. That's our caring now for me. And said, oh no, we want you to live.
Yeah.
But I actually saw stars on the way back. I can't believe I didn't scratch my head, because I went over the head. It's hard to miss my head. It's a big head. but no, I didn't scratch my head. So, but it rattled me a bit, my brother. I admit that, and you think, oh gee, is this the end? But we bounced back. But we had to dig deep, and it was really tough. The squats really trained me a bit, but we went on to the bench, and you're going to ask about the bench, and that was another one too. I didn't think I went from one extreme to another.
So let's talk about the bench then. Walking into the bench, you're hoping, all right, squats was entertaining. Had a big bomb, bombed on one, came back, hit it, ending up getting a big squat, taking a nice lead, but it wasn't exactly the way you thought it was going to go, but it was entertaining to watch. If you want a good story, you got it. So you're probably hoping, let's have a nice, cool, calm, collected bench press. No more fireworks. No more excitement. No more fireworks. And what did end up happening?
No, well, and again, it was my fault again. I was pressing too fast for the call before the press call, and that's why I was getting the free red lights. And I did that the first 2 attempts. I was too early on the press calls, and
at this point.
So I failed my two attempts. So the last one, another one. I was left with the last attempt, and I'd say my team was probably had anxiety then because we left with the last one. But I thought getting through the squats, I thought it couldn't get any worse than that, but it actually did. It actually did because at least I actually clocked the squat. But see, the last one I didn't clock one, so this one I was averse to get bombing the comp, but we got through that one. I listened to the press call at the end, and it was good. So luckily, but we trained for heavier than that, but because you didn't want to go heavier because obviously I still didn't get my opener. Yeah. So we just left our opener and kept that weight until we actually got it, which was the last attempt. So. Lucky. Now, actually, you would have seen me on the video too. I was actually got up and I was just so relieved. Couldn't even wave up to the crowd. I was just going, oh, gee, lucky. And we got
it. Especially with all of that's what's going in here. It's Big Dogs 4. The strongest men in the world are showing up at this. Your family's coming in. This is the last competition ever, and you're facing possible elimination and bombing out. I mean, the stress, you couldn't have made it a better. Look at, in terms of like a storyline, you can't have a more dramatic story. Everything leading in from the huge comeback, you know, at your age, when the doctor's like, you're never going to come back. You're like, I'm going to make this comeback. Your family flying in, and for the first time, wife, parents, kids, everyone's there this time. Last competition ever. The squat event, you end up bailing a squat, and it was a dramatic bail. Rattled a lot of people. Coming back, hitting it, hitting the barbell, be like, yes, we're back in it. Coming back, hitting a personal best, and everyone's like, oh, okay, we're good. We're back on track. Maybe some positive momentum. Coming out for the bench press. Miss the opener. Everyone's like, okay, all right, remain calm. Come back, miss the second. And now everyone watches like, oh, man, this is getting too exciting.
Mm. I know I can laugh about it now, but I wasn't laughing on the day when I was actually doing it. I'll admit that, you know, it was actually quite intense. And the guy that he's a pioneer for Australian powerlifting, he's a big fan of mine, and he comes, his name's Vince Simonetta. He actually come to watch me. And he was saying, because I think 2 months or 3 months before, he had a heart attack. And he goes, mate, I come and you nearly gave me another heart attack. So, you nearly gave me another heart attack. So it was, I said, I'm sorry, mate. But
mate.
Lucky. Yeah.
So do you have, like, when things like that are happening, like mentally speaking, because it's easy to go off the rails, like positive energy has momentum. Negative energy has momentum. And when you're tested like this, and this of all competitions, of all the setups, you're being tested like this, and now both events back to back. Do you have some kind of positive affirmations you say, or positive imagery, or like what do you use to bring yourself back in and be like, this isn't how the story ends? I've been here before. The story does not end this way.
Well, actually, no, my brother, I think everybody, I mean, maybe a lot of people don't like me, but then a lot of people do, but I'm actually a born-again Christian, Brad, proud born-again Christian, my brother, but I've always put it out there that my beliefs in Jesus Christ, really drives me through. It's for him that gets me for anything I do, and that's what I do. I sit down and pray, and just to myself and go, we can do this. And He's got me there for the reason, and the reason not only for the good news, but just to help people. And we had to get that lift, so we can ultimately get the victory, and show everybody that even the old fellas can do it like myself. So it was that was probably the toughest comp I've ever did. But I've had other comps where it's gone against me, but we push through. We just go for the same thing and stay in the process. And me and my team, we know what we can do. And it ends up getting it at the end of the day. So we just stuck to their formula and it's worked. So and it worked on the weekend. So
yeah,
I'm glad we got to win.
And you really can't. So in terms of writing a movie, in terms of the movie ending, how a competition would go, the drama continues right into the deadlifts. So because the deadlift, in the end, Hicks had the winning deadlift in his hands. We'll talk about that, and it was going to be right up to the very last deadlift, like so dramatic in terms of watching. It's almost like the nerves could never get let off. Like you could never. It's right up to the end. There was danger, and it makes it entertaining to watch. But I'm sure your family and you were going through the anxiety of, oh my gosh. So let's talk about the deadlift event. So you make it through the first two events, and you're thinking, all right, let's right the ship in the deadlifts. So let's talk about your attempts and some of the competition, what they were doing.
Yeah, well, I opened with 380. I'm not too sure what I think Yuri, oh man, he's a freak.
Yeah.
I think he opened way more. I don't know what he went. Actually, to be totally honest, I don't know. I just know he got 415 and he went for 435 or something. And that's for something like that. That's phenomenal there. But I just knew that I opened with 380 and we got it. And I didn't rip my hands. I normally rip my hands and all that, but and then I went for 400 in the second and ripped my hands, and I just set the watch. Just like last year, set the watch and see if somebody's going to beat me, just like with Tetris.
Yeah.
when he got that last lift, and I just had to watch. I couldn't come out. So I just had to wait. But this year, yeah. Oh, yeah, I don't get me wrong. I would have been happy for the big fella Graham if he would have won, because it would have been a fairy tale ending. But on the other hand, we got the win, and I get to put it, get to say that I was Big Dog's 4 champion, and tell my grandchildren that. So I was happy we got the win, and I was really hoping that everybody else didn't get no major injuries too. So that's what's important too.
When you got the win, what did it feel like? Because again, I mean, you knew this was the very last competition and there wouldn't be another. And did that dawn on you?
Yeah,
it's bittersweet.
My dad. Yeah, it was good. It was my dad. We were all watching Graham's last deadlift, and we knew that if we would have got that, he would have won. We were all watching, and obviously he didn't get it. And my dad was being dad when he grabbed me and he hugged me. He doesn't normally do that. My dad's he's a good fella, but he's a real hard man too. And that sense of hugging and all that. And, he let his actions do his talking for him. But that day he really hugged me. He was really happy, and he started yelling. I said, "Calm down there, calm down." When he gets off the platform, but yeah, he was really happy. And then obviously my wife come over. She was crying, and when and my team come over, we were just it was just a fairy tale ending. It was a good day.
It's weird how when you're chasing that moment, like it happens in the last competition, like everything comes together in terms of like all those years of working this hard and trying to battle your way to the top. And for it to happen on the very last competition with your dad there, your mom there, your wife there, your kids there, and it's the last one, and to have faced it, oh, and by the way, a blown off quad, your knees, stripped to the bone on bone, and to come back, and then what happened in the squats, what happened in the bench press, and then for a beast like Graham having the win in his hands, all the way up, like the dramatics of it could not have been more dramatic. For all that to take place, I mean, it's almost that picture perfect ending where when you're thinking about an ending to cap off your career and look back, you almost don't want to unsully it. You almost don't want to dirty it. You're like, you know what? You can now close. Your wife's been saying for the last 2 years, close it up, Odell. Leave it alone. You're good. If ever you needed a way to close the book and be like, you know what? It doesn't get no better than that, does it?
Because I think I only got about a 4 out of 10, a 4 out of 9. So on paper, that's probably one of my worst. Well, in case of like what I got, I think my best. I think I've got an 8 out of 9 before, but on paper, that's probably one of my worst performances. But I'm glad on our worst performance we got 11:10.
Yeah.
So on 11:10 on the work, 11:10 kg total on the work on a bad day, and win the big dogs on a bad day. So I'm happy with that. So I always thought in my head, just imagine if we would have had a perfect day, but nobody ever really has that. But even probably a little bit better day than I had that day. Who knows what I would have got? But we come away with the win, and really happy.
Isn't it like it's ironic? It's like a part of. It's kind of like a metaphor for life, right? If you had your perfect day, and you would have ended up winning by a much bigger spread. Let's say you win 9 for 9, got all the numbers you had visualized leading into this, and there's a massive spread. It wouldn't have been the story we're talking about now, though. Like what happened that day, the dramatics of it. Look, if you're winning, and then in squats, and then you're winning in bench, and then you win in deads, and that's how the story goes. That's not really the story your grandkids are going to be being like, hey, you know what Grandpa did one time? That's not really like the fact it was so scary in the squats, and then scary again in the bench press, and then and then for Graham to have the winning dead in his hands, like scary all over again in the deadlifts. That's what makes, like, when your dad had that moment with you and grabbed you and was like, and when your wife comes up crying, it's because of all those moments. It's in a lot of ways that was the perfect ending.
It was, it's going to be really, really hard to not be around. I might still go down here and there. You never know. Might be someone where I live now that aspire to be big dogs or now they've got warriors and big dogs competitors. So if they want to do that, all I can do is share my experiences and hopefully guide them in the right way. But
Yeah.
I've got my own setup. I'll have my own, because I bought the monolith from our gym that we were training at. He got it for me because I never had a monolift. I just did the old school rack, but the guy that had the gym where I was training, he got a mono in for me. So he couldn't sell it. He's only had it for about a year or something. He couldn't sell it, so I said, I'll buy it off him, for a little bit cheaper, because he really got it for me. So I think that was the right thing to do. So I have a mono at home. So obviously, I think my little girl, wants to get into powerlifting.
Oh wow!
She's only 9, but I think she showing likes the powerlifting, because there was a girl, Kita, she won the Wildcats championship, and I think she liked it because Kita got most of the money and with the record. So I think she was just going for the money. I thought, but when it comes to, I keep on telling her now, you got to start squatting. You go, oh no, never mind, no, do it now. But she's only young. See how we go.
Yeah.
I'll be more than happy to help her out in that journey.
Do you feel like, so what are like the future goals? Do you feel like you're saying you might want to, are you thinking about dropping body weight and trying to, even that out? Or what's your future goals look like?
Yeah. Obviously, at comp I was 159, 160. I think the short-term goal now is just to really get back to 140, which is probably going to be pretty easy. Because it's probably just water, just fluid. But I reckon I can get back to 140, within the next 6 months, pretty easy. But and then after that, ultimately just get right back to 120, hopefully. Because there's no need to be. And because with my knees, I was talking to the surgeon here, and he reckons that like taking 1K off your body weight, it's like 3Ks for your knees.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he said it's that effect. But so obviously if you drop 20, it's like 60 Ks off your knee. So that's a lot. So
yeah.
I'm pretty confident I can get back to 145 pretty quick straight away. And I think I've dropped weight already. I've already dropped 5-6 K. Just really cutting up the carbs and all that, and feel a lot better.
Yeah.
But like everybody says, you can't eat the carbs. But when you actually go for the heavyweights, no, you need the carbs big time. And I always tell my mates, I said, you're either powerlifter or bodybuilder, but in the super heavyweight, you need the food.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to the heavies.
Yeah, 100%. I bet. And do you see, in terms of powerlifting, do you see yourself like still showing up at events, maybe mentoring, doing seminars and whatnot in the future?
If they want me to, I haven't really. In a professional sense, I probably have to get something together and make sure. So if that happens, I've got something that's that's a professional look. Like not just get up there and show up and just questions and answers, but a proper seminar. So I'll probably link up with the locals here that actually do a lot of seminars, and then I can do one, hopefully a proper seminar. Or I'll just make sure that I've got a proper seminar to give out. If somebody asks me, so yeah, if I'm asked it, mate, like no doubt, I'll be there to help, and when the wife lets me, and when I'm not supporting my kids' sports journey, but I'll be more than happy to do that seminars and show up to comps to really help mentor people.
And what kind of advice would you give to somebody who's listening to this podcast and they're inspired by your story and they want to get involved in powerlifting? What were some takeaways you tell them that you wish you knew when you first got started?
Well, like everybody's got a story, my brother. As you know, we all got stories, and nobody can take that away from you. Everybody's got a genuine, unique story. My one you probably know a little bit now, but I reckon if I had to give something to the lifters coming through, the younger, or even the ones that are the late bloomers, like what I did, the 31, whatever. I reckon knowledge is power. At the end of the day, and it's all out there now. It's all out there. The knowledge is there, and I think it's foolish. We're going to get offended. Whether we be told that it's not the right thing to do, but sometimes we've got to take that criticism. And we know that that's actually going to help us move forward, because you've got to have an open mind. But knowledge is power, brother. And I think you've heard that many times, and it's up there. There's so many gyms out there now. From the old school, the old school golds and worlds. There's specialised gyms specialise in that, powerlifting, CrossFit, weightlifting itself. They've actually got gyms that actually specialise. Well, over down in Australia anyway, I know not in the USA and all that, they're probably way ahead of us there. They've always had that, but now even down in little Australia, now there's so many coaches out there that have got a lot of knowledge that can really help you get to your goals quicker. You still got to work hard, but it's good that you're working hard, knowing that you're going on the right path. There's no if or what, that path they give you, it's already been trialed and it's going to work.
Yeah, use like you had said before, the knowledge that everyone else trial and errors did before you. Use that knowledge. Don't repeat those mistakes that everyone before you did.
Yeah, not trying to shortcut it. There's no obviously shortcut like in trying to be lazy, but it's just foolish to go the other way when it's been proven that it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So just go the way that everybody's, they've worked it out generally. Everybody's got different, but generally they're all working towards the same direction, and just go that way. At the end of the day, you're going to get to your goals. And obviously, what everybody now with the diets now and all that, the proper diets now they've got now that. I think that's like 75-80% of it, really.
Yeah, really.
As well.
Wow.
So
even as
so they reckon, but I reckon, like in powerlifting, myself, I found that the hardest bit is actually the training itself. Obviously, you look at us, a lot of that super heavyweights, you can see that we don't eat like the bodybuilders, but the bodybuilders, I think the hardest bit for them is the diet, and that is hard. Making sure that you're getting the right tucker and making sure you're doing all that. But see, with us, and then their training is just a little part of it, they reckon. But with us, I think the training's the harder bit, and then and obviously the diet's a little bit not as good, but it's still good, but not as strict.
Yeah, for sure. Especially if you're super heavy, but anyone in the weight classes who got to make a weight class while retaining their strength, dieting. This day and age, I mean, people have a programmer, like someone who's programming their coaching, doing their meet day handling coaching, dietitians. There's so many. This day and age, in terms of the knowledge we have, when you look back, now that you know everything you know, and you've done everything you've done, and you can look back and that chapter's closed. Is there anything that you wish you could have changed if you could go back?
Oh yeah, of course there's a lot of things, but I think at the end of the day, what's done is done. We still achieved it, even though we probably didn't go as good as we should have in diet or training. But I think for me, I wish I would have had a better approach to my diet. I think a lot of the powerlifters, I still ate right, but then sometimes you just got to have a hamburger. You just got to have it on top. You just got to have the calories, but there are other ways of increasing calories without, putting the takeaway stuff. But yeah, I just think, even when I was playing footy, I probably always struggled with diet, and I think that's why. And I admit, when I finished footy, I wanted to be a bodybuilder, but it was never going to happen. Not only because I probably didn't have the genetics for it, but I think I wasn't disciplined with my diet. And I think I only lasted on a diet for about 3 months, and that was it.
Let me give powerlifting a try.
Powerlifting try, but there was one, when I was lighter weight, I was still looking reasonable, but obviously when you want to get the real heavyweights, you have to get a little bit bigger, and that's what I did. And I was looking not too bad when I was in that 140. But once I went over that, started to bubble out a bit, but I still was pretty mobile for my weight. Even 160, even when I go back to about 150, I'm pretty mobile at that, even with my knees. So even when I'm about 145, it's going to be pretty interesting to see, what I can do, just normally, I can walk for an hour, walk with the kids, not run around with them. I wish I could. If I could run, I'd probably, put the boots on with rugby and play social, but that's not going to happen. But I'm glad it didn't, because these young fellas are just too strong.
Yeah. When you look back now, in the moment, when, for instance, when you're doing the seminar and you tore your quad and the whole nine, and you felt like probably at times okay, this is the low point, and you're questioning, why did this have to happen to me? It's funny how when you blow up the bigger picture, now that you look back, you realize that was the beginning of an amazing comeback story. Your story I don't know if you even like fully can process as an individual on the outside looking at your story. It's an amazing powerlifting sports story, not even just powerlifting. To hear your story about, at your age, coming back from such a horrific injury to pinpointing Big Dogs 4, everything that the comeback from your injury to Big Dogs 4, everybody showing up at the event, everything you went through at the time at Big Dogs 4, from the squat event to the bench event, right down to the very last deadlift. If you changed any of it, even though that the quad tear was painful, you take away any of that pain, and it takes away some of that pleasure and the way the story ends. And it's like one of those metaphors for life where, like, why is this happening to me now? This is like the low point, and you don't even realize, like, no, my friend, in the bigger picture, this makes it better. This has to happen, and this is why when people hear your story all over the world, they're like, man, did you hear about Odell and Manuel's story? It's a phenomenal, inspirational story for anybody who's down and feel like they're at the lowest of the low. It's an amazing comeback story. It's only on the other side you look back and can you tell.
That was probably the highlight for me. I mean, I know a lot of other people have been through way, way harder times than me. But that's my story. We all got our unique stories. But I think that was the ultimate, that was the best comp for me. The pro comeback, when I come back from the quad tear. So I don't think that people realise that I come to do the business. But we did. We actually won it. I actually went against Vallard. Big Vallard. He's got the squat record. So I think he come into the comp as a favourite, and I come in as an underdog for obvious reasons, But when we got the win at the end, it was something that I'll never forget. And obviously my wife, she witnessed that for the first time in pro, and when we got back, she realised why I do what I do, like I told you before.
Yeah.
I think having your wife, giving you the okay, what you do, it means something. It's really, really special.
Can you imagine, like, if you didn't come back, you would have retired without her ever having seen and tasted any of that? Like, can you imagine? That would have been a shame. If you would have actually retired, she never would have fully appreciated. Oh, like,
she wouldn't
I get it. You had to come back.
Yeah, no, she wouldn't have. The boss, I'm glad she did, because I think I would have been sleeping on the couch for a few more years after that. But, I'm glad she got to witness all that. And I think the last Big Dog, she really loved that too. We went down a week earlier, and really last year, I know we didn't win last year, but the prep going into Big Dogs 3 was probably the most perfect prep I had. It was just my hands, at the end of the day. But I believe that if my hands were good, we would have taken that up too. But everybody's, we go, oh, we could have did it. We didn't. So congrats to Petrus. He's a strong man, and obviously this year we finally got the win.
Yeah.
And I think on a better day, I think I had a lot more. And I think ultimately, just like the other guys, like Graham, he could do it. Dylan. It's just unfortunate that Big Dylan Halrigal, had gastro, but Yuri, he's a freak. Like nobody, he's probably the best lifter ever. One of the best lifters ever. He's that good. He goes against the heavyweights, and he could have won. He could have won. Just he was there. The win was there for the taking for him too. He was just unlucky himself. But full respect to Yuri and Graham for. And all the other competitors for the awesome competition on last Saturday.
It is. I 100% agree that what Yuri's doing is absolutely phenomenal. It's crazy. It doesn't even make sense at his size.
Size, and you actually look at him. I've seen Dan Green. Dan Green's good too, but Dan Green's he's massive. Yeah. And you look at Yuri, he's massive, but he's not real big.
Yeah.
He's not real big. Just you think it. And then when you see him squatting 420 at 104.
Yeah.
And deadlifting 415 easy.
Yeah.
And his bench was good too. Took 235 of it. I'm not too sure, but his bench was good too. That's phenomenal, man. I don't really talk to Yuri that much. I wasn't too sure if he spoke English or but I didn't speak to him that much on the day because obviously he's a very, very focused man, and he's a coach, and I can see why he's the world's best, if not the best ever.
Yeah. It's good that you got to compete against him before you leave as well.
Big time. I've always had respect for the Russians. Andre Milanic. I really was hoping he'd come. I've always looked up to Andre, you know, and I think a lot of other, not only super heavyweight lifters looked up to him, but a lot of lifters in general looked up to him. Female lifters looked up to him. He's really set the platform for us, and he's always going to be the king, you know, super heavyweight. You know, that guy is just. Now I think he's he's been just doing a lot of seminars now, and he's just been doing comps here and there. But I believe Andre's still got more in him, and it's going to be interesting to see what he does his next comp. I'd say he'd be the one on his day. If he's ready, he'd be hard to beat.
Yeah, you know, in boxing they say every great fighter has one more great fight in him. You just got to be careful when it comes. Like sometimes you think this guy's old, he's washed up. I remember Evander Holyfield in the 90s, the first time he was champ, he was defending against George Foreman. And leading into it, this is before George Foreman won the title at 45. Leading into it, George Foreman, I think, was 42, and Holyfield was 27. And a lot of people were saying, like in the media and whatnot, this is a joke. Fight shouldn't even happen. George shouldn't even be in this title fight. And Evander Holyfield, Vander always comes in shape. I don't know if you watch boxing much, but
always.
Yeah, especially in the 90s.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, I love it.
I met Evander down in when I was playing footy. I met him in Sydney, 2001, I think.
Really,
he was big, massive, tall too.
Yes.
Tall, yeah.
Yeah, you met
tall
Evander,
too, but he's for box. Oh well, they all just he's really cut.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Massive.
Yeah. And everybody, like everyone in the media was writing off George Foreman. And Evander Holyfield's coach pulled him aside and he said, listen to me. Every great fighter has one more great fight in him. So we're getting in shape and we're getting ready for a war. And when the fight happened, it went 12 rounds. And everyone thought Holyfield was just going to take him out in like 1 round, 2 round, whatever. 12-round war. I mean, these guys, he unloaded on George. George was not going away. George came back, unloaded on him, and a fantastic fight. And afterwards, Holyfield said, like, it's not just boxing, but in sports in general, you can never count out that great athlete who, he's got the champion's heart. I mean, whatever he's been through, whatever she's been through, they have one more big performance, you know? And that's the same in powerlifting when people show up. I've seen it. I call the IPF World Championships as the commentator, and we see the same thing where some lifters come back. Jen Thompson, 44 years old, career-ending injury. Everybody's like, she's done. All these young girls, 20 years younger, they got her, and she comes back with a huge win, and everyone's like, how did that happen? You know, you see these things in sports,
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But yeah, so I seen them, and were you a boxing fan in the 90s as well?
I think everybody was. Like we all followed. We used to watch Tyson and all that. And Mike Tyson. But I used to watch boxing back in the day, and I think everybody did. And, I was a fan of Evander Holyfield, and Tyson, Riddick Bowe, all those fellas. Yeah, George Foreman, of course.
When we were younger, they had like the Evander Holyfield Real Deal boxing and the Riddick Bowe boxing video games, and like boxing in the 90s was so huge. Because MMA wasn't big yet, and it was like for a while afterwards, it was nowhere near after Lennox Lewis, boxing fell off hard. You know?
It was. It's changed a bit, but no, taking it away from the boxers now, but I think it's changed the way they do it now. But I don't know whether it's pay-per-view, whatever. But it's still good to watch. But I always liked it back in the 90s. It was always more exciting to me. That's me personally. Yeah. But I think we're a bit biased because that was our time when we were young. And we
exactly.
Like to watch it, but
that's always the case.
I always like the old school boys.
Yeah.
They always seem to be tougher than the ones that we were watching in the 90s anyway. But in saying that, I'm not saying the ones that in this era are not tough neither, and I wouldn't say that to them neither. I'll be running.
I think like boxing's making a comeback now with like Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and whatnot, but for a little while there, it lost a little popularity for a little while there. It was on a little bit of a downswing for a little while there. But in the 90s, it was absolutely bonkers. Like, you got guys like Holyfield, Tyson, Foreman, Riddick Bowe, Lennox Lewis. It was like the 70s all over again almost.
Yeah, my mate. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So, anyways, listen. We've had you on. It's been over 90 minutes, my friend. Much appreciated.
Oh, really? It's been that long?
Time flies.
Nah.
See, when we first started, see, and this is what everyone says when they come on the podcast. They're surprised because we start talking and they think it's going to be like question, answer, like an interview style. We start flowing. Hour and a half, 2 hours flies by and boom.
Oh, no, I really appreciate this, brother. And I think you talking to me the way, you're obviously gifted in this area and gifted in a lot of other areas. You just made it a lot easier for me, but I didn't realise it was that long. But thank you very much for having me here.
Listen,
we can do this again some other time. Like I said, I'll be still in the powerlifting, in the back, here and there. But, I'll still post up videos, but obviously everybody wants me to post up 400 kg squat videos. I don't think that's going to happen, but I'll be still around. I'll post a few videos of me, with my kids and all that, but I'll be around because I tell you what, so much into the sport, it's hard to leave, so I've got to make sure that I'm, probably giving back to the sport again some more, because they've helped me a lot, and I'll be around, my brother. I'm really honoured for you to have me on this podcast.
My friend, the honour's all mine, first off. And second off, your story, I mean, even if you showed up, gave a seminar, and then gave like a motivational speech, just tell the story leading into the final chapter. Your story's inspirational, my friend. If this is the first podcast, you got to do more. More people deserve to hear this story for sure.
No doubt, bro. I'll try my best to do more of these. Yeah. And I was actually did some sports awards last night and went on the radio and all that. So I was it's actually quite humbling really to have everybody acknowledge what you've achieved, and it's actually a little bit emotional because probably that's the end, but it's really a blessing to have everybody acknowledge your hard work and what you've sacrificed, and it's just I'm really grateful, truly grateful.
It's good. The good thing about the podcast format is because we can go 90 minutes. Like I've done radio. I was on a reality TV show previously, and so we would do like radio interviews, and you got like a small segment with a podcast, like a Joe Rogan or whatever podcast, right? You can get right into the story, and you can go on and tell it like it's supposed to tell. There's so many powerlifting podcasts out here. If anybody's listening to this podcast right now who's a powerlifting podcast, they'd be crazy not to reach out and try to get you on because you got a phenomenal story. As soon as I heard it, I'm like, I got a book, Odell. We got to get my man on. So much appreciated, man. If anybody wants to follow you on your Instagram, and I mean, you can just post up your throwbacks and they can watch you and hear your story further. How do they reach you?
You know what, bro? I've never really got into social media. All I did, I'm old school. I just went and put the videos. I hardly ever do stories too. The stories. I'm not really good. But what I'll do, if they want me, they can message me on. Obviously, they just message me. We can go from there. But they can message me on Instagram. Yeah. There's messenger there, and if they want to do something with me, I'll be more than happy to help them out. They do. And if they want me, I think now that, like what you're saying, I'll make sure that I go away to my IT boys and the ones that I know, and I'll ask them to help me get more up to date with how to do a podcast and how to do it a lot more. Well, obviously not as professional as you, my brother, but I'll try my best to close.
Thank you, sir.
Say as close as I can.
And is there anybody you would like to thank now that we have you on?
Yeah, I'd like to thank my team. Most importantly, obviously, as you know, I'm a born again Christian, and always glory to God, always, and that's most important to me. But my team, a lot of my team, they're not Christians, but when they see me saying that glory to God, give all glory to God, I mean that for them too. I'm not leaving them in the dark. I just really appreciate my team, Lachlan Large, Andrew Bowden, I call him Neff, he's Mitchell, and Glenn, big Glenn Hansen that owns Vector Health. He's really been a big part. He's let us come to his gym for free to train because he had the powerlifting facilities. So I'd like to thank them and for their time because I didn't pay them. At the end of the day, it's amateur sport, but I didn't pay them, and they've been there like 4 or 5 times a week just to help me. Out of their own trying days at work, they come and help me. I just really, and then they come to the comp. So thanks to my team. And all my sponsors, Harris Stability, ASN, all those were almost monsters, have been really good, and just really Pro World Powerlifting for really letting me be a part of their journey. And I don't think I'd be acknowledged as much if in powerlifting if it wasn't for Pro World Marcos and EMAD, what they're doing, and they acknowledge the lifters and make everybody known to the world, and make it known to the world. So thank you very much to all you guys. I really thank you for the memories.
Listen, thank you for coming on. When I announced that you were coming on the podcast, so we get downloads from all over the world, Europe, Asia, South America, North America, and I got flooded with messages saying finally, and saying thank you for showing some light. So,
I appreciate it.
So there's a lot of people who are excited that this podcast is dropping. I'm glad they got to hear your story, my man, because it's a beautiful story. Well told. Thank you for coming on, and we're going to keep in touch.
Thank you, brother. See my love to the family, bro. Thank you.
Have a good one, my man. Enjoy your day.
All the best. Till next time.
You bet. And there you have it. Okay, I got a lot of people who had messaged me saying Big Dogs needs more shine, and Big Dogs needs more coverage. And I said, look, I'll post up highlights for Big Dogs. Whoever win it, I'll throw it out there, invite them on. I posted a poll. Who do you think's gonna win? I was leaning towards Odell. I don't always pick right, and everybody lets me know. But the polls online were fairly 50-50. But Odell was definitely the favorite, and my man, the comeback story he had, you know, if you're listening to this is why you post up in your Instagram stories and let other people hear it. Because this is some inspirational stuff, man. And this is his first podcast. You know, if you listen, he should be getting on more podcasts. People should be throwing out more requests. It's a phenomenal story for him to hear. A middle-aged man coming back from a career-ending injury, picking the most dangerous competition he could have to try to end out on, announcing ahead of time, this is the last one, not afterwards, making sure he already got the win ahead of time. This is the last competition, okay, and throwing it out there and wanting to go out on the win. The squat event he had, the bench event he had, right down to the very last deadlift. You don't get no dramatic than that. You know, an amazing story. Very happy to have Odell on here, and a hell of a guy. So give him a follow. Give this podcast high ratings. Post it up in your Instagram stories. I will repost. Tell your friends about it. So my man Odell and everybody else we have gets that kind of exposure they deserve. If you're watching on YouTube, give this a subscribe. Give it a like. Drop us a comment. Let us feel you. From Six Pack Lappin' At. Peace.